was there for 6 years. That's a really long time. That's like literally like my whole teenage years. 6 years I quit. And I did not get one single thank you or goodbye or like no one gave a
Shut the fuck up. God damn.
Alright y'all, what is up? Welcome back. And you saw the clip. Boy, do we have a bad case of big mad on our hands. You know, you gotta love Gen Z, am I right? Gotta love my generation. Just whining and complaining about any sort of minor inconvenience that happens to come in their paths. And honestly, do we have to claim her? Like, seriously, say it ain't so. Because I honestly think this is about as bad as it gets. Gen Z quite literally can be perfectly summed up with this clip alone. I mean, here we really see it all. And I think it's about time that people like this receive a reality check. So I figured, why not hand it to her ourselves? I mean, after all, as the old saying goes, if you want it done right, you gotta do it yourself. So before we hop into the article that comes from the New York Post, just wanted to let you guys know that if for whatever reason you guys aren't subbed to the channel, you must be drunk and or high, because we cover stories like this just about every day. It's lots of fun. I'm sure you'll love the content. If you do, consider subscribing to the channel. But with that out of the way, let's get right into it. So the article is titled, Gen Z Woman Fumes After Quitting Her Job and Not Being Thanked. Welcome to the real world. Yeah, no kidding. And then it says, a young Australian woman has shared her shock at not being thanked or farewelled on the last day of the job she had been at for 6 years. Keely Pajovic took to TikTok yesterday after quitting her job at a Gold Coast Woolworths to complain that none of her coworkers or managers cared that it was her final day working at the store that she worked at for her whole teenage years. So quite a bit to unwrap here. It's kind of like Christmas morning, honestly, but instead of being a little kid and opening up a bunch of toys and money and shit, we get to unbox cringe. So my first thought with all of this is, I'm gonna be honest, man, Gen Z sucks. Man, these Zoomers, as we're called, need to zoom our way into reality, or better yet, zoom our way off of TikTok. Like, first and foremost, it's absolutely hilarious how she was this upset about this. Like, the sense of entitlement here is crazy, because, look, if you're somehow by the grace of God watching this, I'm gonna need you to come close to the screen, just for a second. You ready? Okay. You aren't entitled to anything except for a check. Like Jesus, man, in my opinion, your thanks that you want so bad is the paycheck you cash. Because let's be honest, man, no one likes being at work. No one likes having to wake up at the ass crack of dawn to do their job. But they go because they need the check, and then they're gonna bounce, right? They're gonna leave. They don't show up to work to flatter you. And so with that out of the way, I think it's bad enough she genuinely got this worked up about it. The narcissism here, the entitlement, it's crazy. But I think what's even more crazy, what's even more insane, is how she felt the need to go to TikTok to rant about it. Like, all I'm saying is, if I ever pulled a stunt like this when I was younger, back in the day, I'm getting a goddamn wet willy, it's gonna be followed by a swirly, and then it's gonna be followed up by me being hoisted up on the flagpole by my undies. That, or I'm getting my ass beat, because that's just cringe as fuck. Like, there's not a chance I'd be conducting myself like this, because if I did, my friends, my family, I have a good circle around me, they'd all roast the shit out of me, and rightfully so. If I ever act like that, I'd sure, pray to God that they do. But the craziest thing of all is, I'm kind of talking in the sense that, like, I'm in high school, but this woman is 21 years old, a grown-ass fucking woman, acting like this, man. Come on, that's crazy.
I read
And think about this sense of entitlement in relation to the job that she's working, right? So she works at a Woolworths, or she worked at a Woolworths, I guess we'll say. And if you guys aren't familiar with what that is, I looked into it. Woolworths is a grocery store, right? So bottom line here is, she's not working like any specific skilled job, right? Meaning she's very replaceable, and she's up on her high horse thinking like she's just God's greatest gift to everybody. Like, if you don't like the job, if you don't like the fact that you've been ignored all these years, because I guess she worked there for 6 years, right? If you don't like it, I don't understand why she doesn't just leave or, buck up. Like, it's really that simple to me, but instead, again, she took it to TikTok and is gonna complain for sympathy points on the internet. Like, kinda cringe. And the cope is crazy, because check this out. Because the article continues by saying, 6 years I quit and I did not get one single thank you or goodbye. Like, no one gave up. She said. The 21-year-old claimed she was not surprised, and that one of the reasons she quit is because, quote, nobody cared about her. So yeah, that's about the biggest case of cope I think I've ever read in my life, because first and foremost, 6 years, kind of like I said already, that's a long ass time that this was supposedly eating up at you. Like, I just don't understand. My generation just loves to complain about everything. Technically, if you want to get real technical, I'm complaining by making this video, right? But it drives me up a wall how people can just be so entitled, so narcissistic. It's one of my, I think, least favorite traits in a person. A little bit of a tangent there. The second thing I want to talk about here is the cope itself, though. She said she's, quote, not surprised. It's like, if you're not surprised, then why did you have like a full meltdown, clearly appearing to be shocked, and then go and upload it to TikTok? Like, if you weren't surprised, I feel like you wouldn't have done that, and you wouldn't have just made a big deal out of it. Just my 2 cents, though. But just kind of closing this video out, there is one more thing I'd like to talk about. So the article goes on to say, the debate comes as Gen Z workers spearhead a new, quote, quitting trend, with an increasing number of young Australians leaving their jobs within the first 6 months of being hired. Gone are the days when employees would stay in unfulfilling roles indefinitely, with almost 1 in 10 workers changing employers in the past year. And I think this is a really important part of the article to consider here. So I firmly believe that this sense of narcissism and entitlement that my generation has is a huge contributor to this. The fact that people, 1 in 10 people are quitting their jobs after working there less than 6 months, that's not the flex that this article's making it out to be. That's just like, that really boils down to just laziness, the inability to, focus on a task, a job, get it done to get it done well, right? Just quitting, taking the easy road out. I think that's such a destructive tendency that my generation has. And think about potential job prospects moving forward, right? That's a terrible look. And it's a question that people genuinely ask in interviews, right? So, like, imagine, you roll up to the interview, they're like, oh, you only worked here for 1 month, what happened? Oh, yeah, fuck that bitch, dude, I worked at McDonald's, he's an asshole, bro, I couldn't take it anymore, I was so depressed, blah, but, you could picture that, right? And I'm sure that's a really good look for future job prospects. The fact of the matter is this tendency to just give up on everything without, giving it a fair shot, quitting early, taking the easy road, is such a bad tendency and a bad habit to fall into. And I think that this narcissism and entitlement wave that my generation is a huge part of is a huge contributor to that. And honestly, that type of behavior needs to be stopped. But yeah, that about wraps this one up, guys. I appreciate y'all watching. If you enjoyed it, leave a like rating, subscribe to the channel for more commentaries just like this. Leave a thought down below. I would love to hear what y'all have to say about this. And yeah, guys, I'm gonna go quit my job. I think, I hate it here. I can't stand it. I'm depressed as fuck. And they didn't even thank me one fucking time. Can you believe that? Not one time. And we'll catch you on the next one. Later.